One of the biggest questions I've received over the past weeks is how to go about building ComfyUI workflows. While I definitely wouldn't consider myself a master yet, I think there are a handful of things that I've picked up along the way. Hopefully it'll help some of you true beginners really get the ball rolling. Alright, so I got 4 tips for you guys here today, and then at the end I'll also provide a couple resources that I've used over the past few years that have really, I think, stepped up my game when it comes to ComfyUI and really just understanding the AI space in general, so stay tuned to the end for that. But first things first, I think tip number 1, start from the bottom up, not the top down. What I mean by that is that most people will start their ComfyUI journey looking at these massive all-in-one workflows. For example, the creator McMuppets makes workflows that are just huge, but there's a particular purpose and goal there, and the guy knows what he's doing. And yeah, those workflows are great. They do a great job. But when you are starting out and you are first learning how all of this stuff actually works, what nodes connect where, what things are incompatible, what specific errors mean, where those specific errors come from, you're not going to want to be starting with these workflows that take into account like 18 different methods to generate a single picture or sheet or whatever it may be. It's definitely good to watch and learn, but trying to digest these workflows with little experience in the AI field is just gonna be a nightmare, especially if your main goal is to start building your own. Start small, learn the fundamentals, learn the differences between Stable Diffusion 1.5, SDXL, Flux, Flux Schnell, and Dev. And then obviously all the models in between like Clips, VAE, text encoders, LoRa's, add-ons like ControlNet, Reactor, Ace++. And I think a good way to think about a lot of workflows too is to try and classify how different sections in that workflow work. And that's something we'll talk about in just a little bit. All of this to say, if you start small, it will be a lot easier to learn the fundamentals that you need in order to start building your own workflows and understanding how to approach what you're trying to make in ComfyUI. Which leads me to tip number 2, leverage the templates. And so a lot of people actually don't know this. I didn't know this until recently. ComfyUI actually has a ton of built-in templates for basically anything that you can think of for the most part. So for example, in our last video, we talked about accessing the new Flux context model inside of ComfyUI, and as it turns out, it's literally just a template. But clearly a lot of people, including myself, had no idea that that was there, considering the fact that that video is now our top performing video by a long shot. So thank you. They have everything from image generation to 3D model generation, even large language model chains and access points. So let me show you where that's at. So if you are obviously in your ComfyUI, you're going to want to update all and then also restart. But once that's done, that's just really to get the latest. But if you want to see what you have right now, you can go to, you know what, let me back out, show that one more time. Go to workflow, browse templates. Like it's right there. I don't know how we didn't, I didn't see this. Maybe you guys have. Maybe this is a stupid suggestion, but I never knew that this was here. And the fact that so many people watched our Flux context video and that's literally right here, kind of tells me that a lot of people probably didn't know about this. But yeah, they've got essentially everything. Yeah, you want the basics. Here's an image generation template. Obviously you guys kind of know the drill, which this is super cool too. It gives you the models that you need. So you don't need to go on Civet AI, you don't need to go on Hugging Face and find these models that are just there. And another stupid simple thing that some of you might not know, if you go to, for example, if you load up a workflow and one of these is like red, or it tells you that something's missing, you can go to your manager, install missing custom nodes, and it's going to populate here. Then you would just, select them and update or install. So when you see a video and wonder to yourself, geez, how did they get that workflow so fast? This thing literally just came out. They probably just found a template and started building off of it. So for example, right now, again, coming back to Flux, that would be your example, is you would load this and start building off of it to make something new. And if you're coming in from Automatic 1111, you're probably going to see some familiar faces here. So you have the SGRAN upscaling, high-res SGRAN upscaling, which is, I'm pretty sure this is your high-res fix workflow. And for those of you running ComfyUI inside of RunPod or some sort of cloud provider, they also have templates for Flux Dev, Flux Schnell, in-painting, out-painting. They also have SDXL, which is still used pretty often for pretty good image generation with high level of detail at a low generation time. And so again, if we click into basically any of these workflows, you'll see they really aren't that complicated, which leads me to the next tip. Tip number 3, understand that big workflows are not as complicated as they may seem. So for example, we talked a little bit about McMuppets and his kind of all-in-one workflow packages. But in my opinion, those can't even be considered workflows really, because they're more production pipeline systems, like all-in-one packages for people who really know what they're doing, or businesses really. But the thing is, if you start to break down different sections of these massive workflows, it becomes a lot simpler to digest. You can really start to understand what you're looking at. So why don't we take a look? So this is a workflow that I've kind of been messing around with. It's something that we talked a little bit about previously. Latent sync and lip syncing essentially locally inside of ComfyUI. And so at first glance, obviously this one's pretty big. It's not that scary. But I think it's good enough to kind of get the point across. And honestly, this is kind of the type of structure you'll see if you're downloading workflows from online. You know, typically the creator will group things by color, give things a name, kind of explain what works, why you need certain things, what different parts do. And so if you're downloading a workflow, definitely look at that stuff before you run anything. Look at what the different sections are, what models are being used, why those models might be being used, what could you sub out for those models, what are all the different nodes and how do they kind of work together essentially. But if you start looking at them not by group but individually, that's when it can start to get kind of messy. So if we look at latent sync, for example, this is pretty simple. If you kind of break it down into a chunk, you have your load video. It adjusts kind of feeds the FPS that we want to generate at, or the FPS of the video. The audio we're loading for lip syncing, the actual latent sync node, which this is, again, you know, coming back to like, well, how do you know to hook this up there? Truthfully, trial and error, but also documentation. For example, latent sync is the model that allows you to lip sync audio onto a video of somebody talking. So they have a lot of documentation on how to make that node work and the installation process. So if you follow the documentation, it should be pretty straightforward. And one thing to keep in mind too is that sometimes when you're installing custom node packages like latent sync, a lot of the times the workflow will be packaged inside the files. So for example, if we go into our custom nodes folder inside of our ComfyUI Windows Portable and then go to the latent sync wrapper, you'll see there's a workflow folder and there it is. So all you need to do is drag and drop it and you should be good to go. So that's a little cool, interesting tip to keep in mind as well if you're looking for workflows that come from a specific custom node, for example. Then we can see that the batch is passed as a list so that the rest of the workflow goes image by image by image. Then we pass it to a face parser that looks for the mouth, upper lip, and lower lip. We generate a new lip image for each frame being passed. We have some upscaling here. Then we can see we have some masking. And then finally, here is just our results. And you can see that I was kind of messing around with some other stuff here. So you can see when you kind of start looking at it batch by batch, it really is not too bad, right? Just a matter of breaking complex things down into simple ways of understanding, I guess. So again, try not to look at specific nodes, but rather node groups that work together. Then from there, once you can identify groups that work together and what they do, you can kind of start plugging and playing with them. Another option to kind of test that is to break workflows into groups using the bypass node, which is this one right here. And then just turn off different sections inside of your workflow, hit generate, and see what the result is. It starts with understanding the goal first, and then finding the tools, resources, and maybe even workflows out there to help you reach that goal. Which kind of leads me to my next tip. Tip number 4, watch everyone all the time. As far as we have already come with AI, unfortunately, or fortunately, it is still in its infancy. There's a lot of unexplored territory left, but we've also explored a lot of territory so far. So odds are, if you are trying to build something in ComfyUI, whether it's image, video, 3D, there is likely somebody else out there who has or is trying to build the same thing. So study what other people are doing. Go look at random workflows. Even if they're not exactly what you're looking for, maybe it has a piece that you need. Try and analyze the why behind each workflow you're looking at. Why are certain models used? Why are you doing this set of nodes versus a different set of nodes? Maybe you've seen good results with a particular method and the workflow you're watching on YouTube or wherever you found it could benefit from what you've seen in the past. Try it. There are hundreds of thousands of workflows out there publicly available across the web, whether that's on Reddit or even individual websites dedicated to workflows, all of which we're going to talk about in just a little bit as well. And finally, tip number 5, as stupid and cliche as it is, just do it. The stuff is super intense. There's no getting around that. And the implications of what we discover with each and every passing day continue to go well beyond what I, and I think most of us, ever really thought was possible. And honestly, that's really the toughest part about all of this, right? The fact that once you finally learn how something is done, you've completed your first workflow, looks good, you're ready to go, and it immediately becomes outdated. But you can't let that stop you. With each passing update, whether that's from Sora or Midjourney or Comfy or Flux or whoever, as long as you act on them and try it and do something and listen to what they're saying and how things are progressing, you will learn and begin to see patterns in how these models function, what works, what doesn't work, how certain things connect together, what's compatible, what's incompatible. You'll encounter errors, you'll slam your desk, you'll curse out your computer if you have to, but keep going. Just keep testing, keep looking at stuff. It's going to hurt your head, it's going to be difficult, but eventually it does get easier. At the end of the day, a lot of this stuff is being built to plug and play. I mean, think about it from a developer perspective. Nobody wants a tool or product or service that isn't easily integratable with whatever they're working on. Who would buy that? So a lot of these creators that are building these new tools like ControlNet, which was a huge development when it originally came out, are building it to work with the direction that we're heading. And honestly, that's another little tip. Work smarter, not harder. If something seems like it doesn't work or you're taking the long way around, you probably are. Think it's Occam's razor, right? I'm not even sure. Don't quote me. The simplest solution is usually the right one. You just can't get stuck in an isolation tank of fear or like a deer in headlights. The AI space is not going to stop. It's not going to slow down. It has been 3 or 4 years now, and it has not done that once. And because of that, it's our job to keep up with it the best that we can and just keep trying new things. And honestly, the way I like to think about really how I approach everything, and specifically ComfyUI workflows, shockingly actually comes from Steph Curry.
He's been shooting 500 shots a day, every single day, 7 days a week, for his entire adult life and most of his teens. Now think about that. He's been in the NBA 15 years. He's the greatest three-point shooter in the history of the world. He made 3,360 something shots now, three-point shots. No one even close. Watch this. 500 shots a day, that's 14,000 shots a month. That's 168,000 shots a year. That's over 15 years. Just his professional career. 2.52 million shots he's taken in practice so that he can make 3,300 and be the greatest in history. So people get rewarded in public for what they practice in private.
Half the time, your workflows aren't going to work. That's just how it is. But eventually, you will get it if you practice, research, and pay attention to what others are doing and what's developing in the space. With that in mind, there are a handful of creators that have really changed the game for me, and truthfully, I cannot recommend them enough. First up is MattVidPro. Honestly, excellent speaker, excellent dude. I've talked with him a handful of times, super entertaining and always timely. If you're looking for something that you can listen to during your half-hour lunch break or on your drive home, that's your guy. AI Economist is also a fantastic account for keeping up to date with workflows, methodology, and really just developments in how we approach consistent characters, consistent video, video to video, image to video. And then kind of like I alluded to earlier in this video, McMuppets is also a fantastic account. He's very, very high level, but talks a lot about his philosophy when it comes to building workflows and the progression in the future. And honestly, Reddit is another great resource, but not just browsing Reddit. If you download Reddit on your phone, sign in, and start to get active in different threads in regard to ComfyUI, workflows, specific models, for example, if you enable notifications, Reddit's going to start recommending you new threads in regard to those topics. And a lot of the times, you'll get solutions to problems you didn't even know you had. But if you want to skip all of that, in the coming weeks, we're going to be talking about how to build your own personal Telegram N8N assistant that's going to help you automate this research and give you a daily morning report on everything you need to know. So if you guys are interested in that, feel free to subscribe and stay tuned. And that's all, folks. I'm more than happy to elaborate on any of this stuff. I just kind of wanted to start with a more high-level discussion because I know the few people that have reached out asking about this topic have really wanted a high-level, where should I be looking? How should I be thinking about workflows? But if anyone's interested in specifics like understanding how different models work together, actually building a workflow demo together, certainly leave a comment on this video or feel free to become a free member on our Patreon and get access to our community discussions. But yeah, if there's anything specific you guys are interested in, please let me know and we'll consider talking about it. Thank you guys so much and best of luck out there.